Wow. Now that I am home, I can't believe the names are still coming. It really is a bloodbath out there in WWE, them trying to find a way to save money, to basically stay afloat during this whole epidemic that is sort of sweeping all over the United States. WWE not really able to run shows other than the Performance Center to keep their WWE television deal alive with Fox as well as USA, which is probably two of the biggest things that they have going in the company. But of course, they have to find a way to help out the bottom line. No WrestleMania, no access, no WrestleMania Super Center merch sales stand, whatever the heck they call it. They make a lot of money WrestleMania weekend. That is a huge hit to the bottom line to them not to be able just to put on WrestleMania. Yeah, they weren't able to run house shows now for about a month. That's still money coming into the company, but the names are still rolling out. And in my last video, I talked about a lot of the names that were there. I talked about Kurt Hawkins, and I said this is the second time that Hawkins has been released from WWE, that Zack Ryder has been able to keep his job. Ryder was just recently released as well. The names just keep coming. I really thought that Ryder had pictures or some sort of story involved with somebody that is involved in WWE. Ryder and Hawkins, they've both spread their wings in the last year. Keeping their own names alive. Brian Myers and Matt Cardona. They have the Major Brothers Wrestling Figure podcast. That was not a part of the WWE podcast show that came out with, Corey Graves has one, The New Day has one. They went out on their own, and this is honestly something that's going to be good for them because they're going to be able to keep their brand alive and keep them moving. These are guys that, the last, two WrestleMania, they've ran, well, this would have been their fifth live show that they would have done. So this is going to be good for them and their company. But, to be able to have free time to do basically whatever they're going to do. I'm sure that Hawkins and Ryder will both stay involved in wrestling, whether that means they're going to have to find another company to be able to do that in, or just work independence. I know that honestly, when it comes down to it, when Brian Myers was released last time, he worked an independent show that weekend. There was no sitting around. There was no feeling sorry for himself. He wanted to get back out on the road, and he wanted to make a buck and show that, there was a reason why he got into pro wrestling, and that's because he's good at it. And that's what he did. He went out and he wrestled for Bola. He had a match against AJ Styles, and he wrestled probably on just about every independent show up and down the East Coast until he got his number called to come back to WWE when they did the whole brand split back in 2016, and they needed more guys to be able to join up. Ryder, this is his first absence from WWE. He was out due to injury, I believe, twice. But other than that, he's always sort of been a mainstream guy, even if he hasn't been being used on the main shows. Former Intercontinental Champion, got a tag team title in there. He won the United States Championship. His highlight was easily 9 years ago. I believe that was back in 2011, going into 2012. First time he really came on my screen was when he was in ECW. The match between him and Christian, probably going to be one of the best matches that he ever had in his career. He beat Dolph Ziggler at the TLC pay-per-view to become the United States Championship. That was like to capitalize on him, branching out and doing his own thing with the Z True Hollywood Stories. It was a shame that those things ended, but how much more could he really have done? I think if you listen to the podcast, I'm not even really that big into toys. It's made me want to drag my retro collection out and see how close I am to really having all of the old retros. Hasbro's, it's almost made me wanted to pull the trigger to start a retro collection of the newer ones, even though the brand just got stopped. I think they're pretty cool, and they fit in with the old school Hasbro's of back in the day, even though Mattel is making them. So it's a shame, but I know that honestly every Thursday, Friday, that podcast is going to be released, and I'm going to get the same dose of Hawkins and Ryder that I was getting before. So we'll see what goes down. I'd be really surprised to see him pop up somewhere like Ring of Honor or something like that. But, you know, got to keep going. It's got to stay afloat.